This is the awkward story of my senior prom. So I think it all starts because I went to an all-girls school, so this is an inherently awkward prom from the start because none of the guys are going to know each other. So I wasn't dating anyone. I was not cool, had no friends to ask to this thing. And but I did have a crush on this guy that worked at a store that my mom and I would go into like once a week. And I just thought he was so cute. It was like an inside joke with my mom. And she was like, you got to ask him to prom. Meanwhile, I don't know this guy's first name, like nothing about him. I think he's like in college. I'm like, Mom, no way. That's so weird. Like, I'll just force one of my brother's friends to go with me or something. I wake up one morning, I don't know, weekend, Sunday morning, and there's a text from an unknown number on my phone. It's like, hey, Katie, it's Chris, the guy from the store. Your mom said I should text you about prom. I had like a heart attack. This was the worst possible thing I could imagine. I like run downstairs, I'm like probably crying, like, Mom, how dare you? Like, oh my God, this guy thinks I'm a psycho. And my mom's like, oh, I gave him your number. I think it'll be great. I think, you know, he definitely wants to go to your prom. I call him up, I'm like, I'm so sorry, you totally don't have to go to prom with me. Like, I'm so sorry my mom did that. Like, I swear I'm not that spastic that my mom needs to ask a date to prom for me. And to his credit, he was a really nice guy and was like, don't worry about it, I will go with you. And he went to my prom with me, and he definitely was in college. He chain smoked on the balcony for most of my prom, but he went with me, so I don't know, stand-up guy. This is a photo of me and my mom at before that prom. So I'm smiling, but inside I hate her for the moment. But I guess thanks Mom for getting me a date to my senior prom.
So my first prom, I'm a junior dating a senior. She wants to go to prom because she wants to say, you know, goodbye to all of her friends, and she wants me to go with her because I'm such a stud. None of my friends are going. So we go to the prom, you know, I drive her there in my 2004 Chevy Malibu, the Boo. Very classy ride. I don't know why the hell we didn't get a limousine or something. That aside, so we get there, you know, I walk her in, have her on my shoulder, I'm looking fly. We get out there on the dance floor, we're dancing. This is pre me being like a dance superstar. You know, I'm very self-conscious. It's bad. You know, I'm trying not to be self-conscious, but I'm looking around me and everybody's got like very fluid dance moves and I'm very like stiff and like nervous. I kind of go and sit down a little bit just because I'm like, I'm just gonna let her dance with her friends. I don't want to be making it weird. So I go sit down, she comes down and sits by me a minute and she's like, everything okay? I'm like, yeah, no, it's fine. You know, I just want you to have a good time. You know, I'm just here for you. But she just sits down next to me, and after a while, I'm like, well, do you want to go dance more? And she's like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, you know, I open up my wallet. My dad had given me like $200 for this prom for some reason, you know? So I'm like, Dad gave me all this money. Let's go like to Chicago and blow it on something. She's like, yeah, that sounds good. Or in my head, that's how she said it. But so we jump into my Boo. And we're driving, and all of a sudden she just starts crying uncontrollably. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, what's the matter? She's like, you ruined my prom. I was like, I ruined your prom? I'm like, I didn't do anything. I mean, maybe my terrible dancing ruined her prom in retrospect, but whatever. So I'm like, okay. And then, so I like, you know, pull a Yui on the highway, start driving us back towards our home, and I don't know how to get back. I never have driven to this place before. It's in some freaking like, you know, dinner place in the middle of freaking nowhere. So I'm driving back. She has the map in her purse, won't show it to me. I'm like, show me the map. She's like, no words are coming out of her mouth, just tears and anger and So, you know, it goes on for like 20 minutes and I'm just like, who the hell knows where I'm driving? I think I drove all the way to like DeKalb by the time. So I'm like, this has got to end. So I like pull over in the middle of like a Walmart parking lot. I get out of the car, slam the door, just start kicking the tires, start punching the car. My poor, beautiful gray Malibu, and get back in the car very calmly, shut the door, just look at her. Without saying anything, just hands me the map. You know, she stopped crying, and I drop her off, and that's that. The next day at school, I'm out eating my lunch, and she comes out, hands me a note, broken up with, over. So, first prom.
My prom horror story goes way back to the spring of the year 2000. And it starts out, basically I was threatened by my ex-girlfriend to take her to prom. Because if I took this other female, she was going to make my life a living hell. So prom comes, it's a very last minute rush deal because I wasn't supposed to go with her, so we had to get matching tuxes and dresses and everything, and we actually had a few friends go with us. So it started out where we were supposed to get a rental car. That didn't work out, so we had to take my old beat up 1987 Cutlass Sierra, which still had my textbooks and football pads and everything in the back seat. Wasn't clean and it was pretty dirty. My friend who was supposed to go with us, he was about 2 hours late getting his suit from the alteration shop. So that made us even later to go to prom. Once we got to my girlfriend's house, she was pretty pissed already. Once we get to prom, we decided to go ahead and get our pictures taken pretty early. So we took 3 pictures, 2 individual, 1 together. And as she was backing out of the scene for me to take my photo, she accidentally kicked one of the legs of the background of the scene. So as she did this, the entire scene came crashing down. The backdrop, the podium, all the props, everything came crashing down. And as I looked up, there were like at least 100 people just staring there, laughing at us, pointing at us. And that was just, another step in such a really bad evening. As we continued to go on with the evening, my dress, her dress actually was purple, and she wore these purple contacts, which were really big at the time. So as we're dancing, her contacts start going all crazy and cross-eyed and stuff. So I told her, like, hey, your contacts are slipping. They're going all over the place. And so as she got ready to go to the bathroom and, fix her contacts, I actually saw the girl I was supposed to go to prom with, and she was looking amazing. So my date comes out of the bathroom, sees me talking to this young lady, and she just like goes off and just gets extremely pissed. And so we start dancing again, their contacts start going all crazy again, and then again she sees me talking to some other female that I liked or liked me, whatever. So this evening just went crazy, just crazy bad as the evening went on. So by the end of prom, she's just sitting at a table by herself, just pissed, arms crossed, huffing and puffing. And as we get ready to leave prom, it just starts raining crazy, just a torrential downpour. And this prom took place in Indianapolis, and so if anyone's ever been to Indianapolis, you know that there's not much to do. So the only place to go was a 24-hour IHOP. So everybody from prom is there, and we're just sitting there, and we start arguing, and she wants to, take my keys and go sit in the car, but I knew she was crazy, and I knew she probably would have stole my car if I gave her the keys. So we're fighting over the keys, and finally I just snapped and said, you know what? I wish I'd never even taken you to prom. I was supposed to take that girl over there, and you wasted my entire senior prom. And so that was basically very uncharacteristic of me to snap like that, but I just couldn't take it anymore. So as the evening went on, I decided to just take her home. I didn't eat my food or anything. We just hopped in the car. And as I dropped her off, we get to the door of her house, and she has the nerve to ask me if I wanted to come in and hang out. And all I could say was, hell no, I don't want to hang out with you. So, that's pretty much the worst prom I've ever had in my life.
Second prom. Second prom, senior year, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to prom, got to right this wrong. And so like, okay, this time I'm going to go with a friend, not a girlfriend. I think I'm all good. So I go with this girl, she ends up breaking up with her boyfriend 2 weeks before we go to prom. Because originally I was like, oh, she has a boyfriend that doesn't want to go. I'll just take her. It won't be weird. But so we go to this prom. I pick her up. I'm in a white tux for some reason. I've got like super long hair. I look just like the biggest creep. But anyway, I pick her up. We go to the prom. We have an okay time. We dance. It's cool. And I get really excited. We're having a good time. And then, like, we're driving. We're going to go to an after party. I'm all like, woo, 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 woo. Curse is lifted. And we're driving. And she's like, we got to make one stop. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, pull over in this parking lot. Yet another parking lot. And I pull over. And I'm like, what's going on? And she just gets out of the car, walks away. And I'm, like, looking out the rearview mirror. This other car pulls up. And this guy gets out. Her ex-boyfriend, and they're just sitting there talking and like whatever, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. You know, my romantic dreams had been dashed. That's okay, but they end up talking for an hour and a half, and I'm just sitting there by myself. And she comes back and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna go home with that guy, and I'm like, so that's year 2.
So you've heard of arranged marriages, right? Have you ever heard of an arranged prom date? Because that's what happened to me. Senior year, I was in love. And the girl that I was in love with, I wonder what happened to her. Anyway, she had another date already. So I was without a date. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'll just go with one of my friends. No. My mother had other ideas. She decided that it would be a good idea for me to go with one of her friend's daughters. We go on the date. It's awkward because I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking to this girl about. She sat there the entire time, and she just kind of sat there, and I'd be like, hey, you want to dance? No. Okay, cool. Hey, you want something to drink, some punch or something? No. Good, great. This is my senior prom. Maybe the last time I'm gonna see some of these people ever again. That's cool, all right. So I basically sat there for a decent period of my prom with all of my friends and best friends and, you know, girls that I really was into, all like, come on and dance, life is great, we're young. I sat there. So then I decided that I was mad at my mom, so I decided to take it out on her. My friends had a lake house in Michigan, and so I wanted to go to this lake house, which was the original plan. Mom was like, no, you gotta take this girl home. So I did. Took her home, and then I figured out a grand scheme to go to the lake house by lying and saying that I was staying over my friend Paul's house. Hi, Big Fat. I lied to my mom, drove up to Michigan. So she calls me in the morning, says, hey, how's everything going? How's prom? Oh, it was a great time. Took her home, all good. Oh, okay. Well, when are you coming home? I hadn't thought about that part yet. Remember, I'm 3 hours away from my house. She goes, well, I'll be home in like an hour, so we're watching a movie. Because I had the mindset to think, oh, movies last 3 hours, so maybe I can just be in a movie in the time it takes me to get home. Now, my mom calls me back 10 minutes after this conversation. I'm thinking I'm in the clear. I go, I'm dancing on the beach. My mom calls me back and says, hey, you gotta come home right now really quickly because I need you to come pick something up for me. Now, I'm 3 hours away from my house. What do you say? And I hemmed and hawed for about 10 more minutes. And I was like, Mom, I'm in Michigan. I will never forget this. My mother looks at me. That she didn't look at me, but you can hear her looking at you through the phone and just goes, okay. And that was it. And so now, because mothers are amazing, they have the ability now, she knows she's ruined my weekend now because now I'm terrified because I don't know what she's thinking. And so for the rest of the time, I didn't have any fun. So I got home, got grounded, got yelled at, it sucked, prom sucked. I'm unhappy about it to this day, actually. But it all works out.
Year 3, freshman in college. I had no purpose going to another prom, but you know, whatever. I'm a romantic, I guess. So I'm dating a senior at another high school. So I go to prom with her because it's her senior prom. It's way better. The town that she's from is like a fancy town, so we're at the Shed Aquarium, you know, the prom's at. Super awesome. Take buses there, you know, don't have to worry about driving my 2004 Chevy Malibu there. We get there, she spends the whole time ignoring me. whole time with her friends. There's another guy like across the table from me. Same thing. We just spend the whole time just like staring into each other's eyes, a mirror of each other's despair. And then we get on the bus, you know, go home. And she breaks up with me a couple days later. This time not at lunch because we don't have lunch anymore. Well, we eat lunch, but, you know, no lunchtime, so I'm cursed. But I don't know if I'll ever get over that. It's dark. It's fucked up. I didn't know how to end it.
Dude, that was awesome.